All right, gentlemen. Well, welcome to the Real Estate Hacks. This is the first episode, and it's called Meet the Hacks. So we're going to start off by introducing our first host, Jeremy McGraw.
Hey, Graeme, how are you today?
Not too bad. Jeremy's a realtor. Could you tell us a little bit about yourself really quick?
My name is Jeremy McGraw from SJ Real Estate and Remax Capital Diamond. I've been actually a realtor for pushing almost 7 years now. Basically, I am an investor as well for about the past 5. I've actually partnered with Graeme in the past there, and I do have another business partner, Shastina Barlow, who's my real estate business partner as well as my investing business partner. And together, I think we have close to 12 doors now, and slowly growing. Have a little bit of competition with this guy over here. We'll talk, I think, a little bit more about that later.
Absolutely.
So yes, real estate and realtor, investor. I like to say I'm a condo extraordinaire. I love the condo market, but my primary focus for a lot of my clients are single family homes and multifamily, with a specific in multi, and then slowly pushing into commercial now.
Absolutely. Let's jump to Andrew.
What's up,
realtor.
Chad?
Yeah.
Thanks a lot for having me on the show, guys. I'm excited to be here on the first episode and many more. So my name is Andrew McLeod. I'm a local realtor here in Windsor with Jump Realty Inc. And I've been doing this for about 3.5 years. Predominantly work with, single family homes, first time buyers, families looking to get into the market or maybe downsize, maybe upsize. So I do work with investors. I think Jay more on the investor side, me more so for the fams. And I have done a couple flips. I do want to get into the long-term rental space like some of the gentlemen here on the show. So maybe I could learn a couple things from you guys, and maybe I could teach you guys a couple things.
Of course.
Absolutely.
Definitely want to know, because you're heavily pushing the marketing side as a realtor too, which is huge.
Yeah. I forgot to mention me and my partner, Daniel Zanatin, we're starting a team. So it'll be We Sell Windsor, and we got a couple guys coming on in the spring here. So we're excited to absolutely crush it this year.
Yeah. Further to what Jeremy was saying, excited to hear what you're doing with Google ads, Facebook ads. Yeah. Maybe we could dive a little bit into your secret marketing plan. Maybe not. I don't
definitely
know.
talk about that.
We'll talk later a little more about that. All right, Michael.
Yeah, so my name is Michael Citron. I'm a mortgage agent here with Lens City Mortgages. I've been in the industry for a little over 2 years now. I've been investing in real estate for about 6. I got some rentals. Working on my first flip right now. Lots of learning there. Lots of mistakes as well. So, yeah, and when it comes to mortgages, done farms, construction, new builds, condos, multifamilies, and then any commercial files here. We do have a commercial broker specifically for those, so we do refer those out to him. But I'm really happy to be starting this podcast with all of you gentlemen.
Let's go.
Happy to be on it too as well.
Absolutely, myself included. Last but not least is myself, Graeme Thompson. I'm an investor, entrepreneur. I have a few businesses, including property management business, construction business, contracting, and an electrical business as well. So all centered around real estate. That's my one true love. And so I'm really excited to get on the show here and chat some more with these fine gentlemen.
The real estate jack of all trades, eh?
That's right, Jeremy. And because you said that, we're going to start with you today.
Okay. What would you like to know?
Well, I know you very well, Jeremy. So I'd love to have you introduce yourself a little bit more to our audience. If we could hear about what you're doing right now, who you're working with, and what your goals might be for 2023.
A quick recap: Jeremy McGraw, SJ Real Estate with Remax Capital Diamond. As I mentioned, my clientele seems to be mostly investors at the moment. The big thing we've kind of seen with them is basically with the market has changed, a lot of people are scared. So my focus right now is kind of getting my investors back on track, figuring out what works best for them, because some people wanted a single family home. Single family homes might not be that right direction at the moment, especially with the way the interest rates are going. But I love to work with condos.
These are investors, right?
Investors, yes, correct. So do that. Condos, which is not directly just with investors. I like to help basically a lot of retirees go that condo route, young professionals as well. I think condos are a great idea, basically a great look because of.
You are the condo guy. You love condos.
I own 2 of them myself, so I love them, and I've helped quite a few people get into condos, especially all across Windsor area actually. But what I like about condos is that it's kind of like a lock and leave. For example, we're going on vacation, right? I can lock my door, not have to worry about anything. My neighbors will let me know if anything's going on. But also, I have, like, for example, they have amenities, the gyms, pools, underground parking, right? It's just a really great opportunity, like I think a great idea. So I really like the condo market. So
Absolutely. And your deals you're working on right now, are there any quick tricks or tips that you'd have for negotiating with sellers, helping your clients find the right deals?
great question. I think there's always a why, which I think is probably the biggest thing I always want to know is what's the seller's why, or in my case, what's my buyer's why, or if I'm selling something, what's the buyer's why? We got to figure out a common, and now it's the negotiation. We want to figure out what everyone's whys are, and we can kind of put the deal together based off of that. Especially if I have the upper hand, knowing someone's why, I can kind of utilize that to my advantage. For example, a duplex I just picked up recently, it was a power sale. They wanted a clean, no condition offer, which basically allowed me to maybe come in at a lower purchase price, but waiving some conditions. However, I don't always advise waiving conditions to buyers that don't understand.
You're a cowboy, Jay.
Well, here's the thing about it,
Not
right?
financial advice, by the way.
It's not, yeah, of course. Because, for example, right, I thought I was going to be able to get an A-lender mortgage. That did not happen. I had to go private. So there are some hiccups. Also, I also brought through my contractor. So I actually have people that know what they're doing, that are going to renovate the property. I know my costs associated with that. Whereas maybe someone that's a first-time buyer that's looking to as an investment property, that sell a property that I would bought, they wouldn't have felt as comfortable because there was work needed, right?
Like you think they might want like a turnkey, like
Not necessarily, but they might be a little bit more nervous knowing the cost. For example, they might have a number in their head, let's just say like 40 grand, but what if it's 60 grand? Are they comfortable having to pay another 20?
I've even seen, like, I know you do more investing, but I've even seen like they overshoot it like way too much. Like a deal could be a deal, but they're like, well, this might be 100,000 when it might be like 60.
So with investors, I think the number one issue for most investors starting off is analysis paralysis. They're getting inside their head. Basically, what that means is they love the idea of buying something, but they keep going over every worst case scenario in their head. And it's, for example, I tell them, I say, this might be this much cost. Let's look into it. But what happens is they get into their head where it's like, oh my God, this is going to cost me so much money. And then they start analyzing it over and over and over again, and they never pull the trigger. And that's a big issue. And even with myself, when I first started getting into investing, I overanalyzed everything. And I think we all want to do that because we want to make sure that we're as comfortable as possible. And
Sometimes investing is not comfortable.
that's how the business is. If real estate was comfortable and if there was no risk, everyone would do it. The reward's so great that there has to be risk. With every reward, there's risk.
Wow. You mentioned there was a duplex earlier. Which duplex was that, Jeremy?
I recently purchased a property in the Midtown area of Windsor. It is a 3-bedroom, 1 bath on the main floor with a 2-bed, 1 bath on the upper unit, separate hydro meters, 1 gas meter. Split basements, which is actually really, really great. Each basement has their own access. The upstairs has a great entrance as well. And what Graham's going to laugh about is I'm going to use the word double car garage because I mentioned that in my Instagram post yesterday quite a bit.
About 6 times, yeah.
Hey, it's got a double car garage, which is great for me. As an investor, you always want to have pluses. And especially when you have multiple properties, the one thing I found that I didn't have in my repertoire is, I think I'm using the word right, but a garage. And what's good about that is for storage. People forget when you have multiple properties, you have to have extra fridges, stoves, furniture, stuff. For example, I'm using Airbnb right now. I want to make sure I have other stuff to go in case something breaks. And having a storage unit at a property or having a main centralized location to have everything is a huge plus. Some people will pay $100 to $200 or more at a storage locker. Like, they're not cheap.
Yeah, I think that duplex a perfect one for a competition.
I think it's a great one for a competition.
Maybe we'll get into that a little bit later in the episode.
I think
Who
we will.
knows? Who knows? All right, now let's jump to Andrew a bit.
What's up, big guy?
Andrew's got an awesome marketing plan. I know a little bit about it, but our audience knows nothing.
Yeah.
This year is going to be huge for Andrew and his team. Could you tell us a bit about what's going on?
Yeah, I'll explain a little bit. So me and my high school buddy, Daniel Zanatin, we just recently started a team. So currently it's just me and him partnered up, and then we hired his sister to be our admin. And then we got 2 agents that are going to be hopping on the team probably March, April. So our main focus is just marketing more. I find like the market is contracting a little bit, and we've seen that in the last 12 months. But I think that, if you're a realtor and you want to do well, you have to spend money and you have to acquire these clients to help them. Because, if you're contracting in the market, you're just going to die, right? So I think that's going to help my business. It's going to help my clients as well, because we spend a lot of money marketing them to find out, what they want and find them properties.
Wow.
So I think that's going to be huge. We do have a couple of guarantees. So like, our Your Home Sold guarantor will buy it. So that basically will help buyers, because we can guarantee the sale of their home, and then they can actually move up and buy the property that they want to buy.
Shows your confidence. Absolutely.
Yeah, we're confident that we can sell it fast. Average days on market's about 34. We sell our properties in about 3 weeks on average, which is a big advantage, if you're coming to me to, sell your home. Buyers, as far as working with buyers, usually what I tell them is, if let's say you want to live on a specific street in South Windsor, there might be one sign on the property. A lot of buyers think that that's the only property for sale. But what they don't know is when they start working with Daniel and I, that all properties on the street come available. So we'll actually go out, we'll find those properties, we'll talk to those homeowners, and we'll negotiate the best deal for them.
Well, you'll actually go door to door and try to find them a deal.
Correct. So we'll do direct mail. I've even door knocked. So, I tell my buyers, you're not going to save like, $100,000, $200,000, but you might save like 20, 30 grand.
Yeah, you don't hear about that anymore. Realtors going door to door, knocking, trying to find deals.
No, you don't. So, well, yeah, you know what? If someone's serious about buying a house, like we want to be serious, with what they want to do, right? So we're willing to go out there and, spend some money and get the job done.
Now, are you a little bit nervous about, spending all this money on marketing in a down market, or do you see past that? And what's your point of view on that?
Yeah. I think as like a realtor, or just any business owner, like you have to know your numbers. So if you're not aware of your numbers, like, if you're blowing money and there's no way to track it, that's a problem. So we have systems to track, how much we're spending, how much it costs to actually acquire a client, and then go through the process with them to actually help them, either get into the home or sell their home as fast as possible.
So when did you make the transition to working as a team, and how do you guys do that? Like, do you guys list every property together, or like?
Yeah. So like if my parents called me to like, sell their house, like that'd be my deal.
Right.
But basically what we did was we got on the Craig Proctor sales program. So Craig was number 1 Remax agent in the world 2 years in a row. He's got a really great program. There's some really heavy hitters, and everyone in his program is number 1 in their market. So what we decided was we didn't want to be average, and we just said, you know what, the program's a little expensive, but we figured if we could get better at what we do, then we could help our clients better, do more volume, help them better, create a better system. So that's kind of why we brought, Daniel's sister on to help us with paperwork, because it just makes our clients, it's kind of more of a concierge service.
Right.
So
cool.
it makes it easier for them. So I think building the team is kind of like the next step for us.
Right. Yeah.
Just for, making it easier for everyone.
Yeah. The strength in numbers, right? So,
Yeah.
Very cool.
So yeah, it's going to be fun. I'm excited.
So what are your goals for the year? Are you hoping to hit a certain number? Are you hoping to sell a certain amount of homes?
Yeah. Like we have a certain amount of GCI. I don't know if I want to like let everyone know on the podcast, but I think it's more so, like we do have a dollar amount, but it's also more so, helping people. So our goal is to help about 120 people for the year of 2023. So I think if we can do that,
I like that.
We'll make a lot of people happy. We'll put a lot of families in some nice homes in some great areas. And and obviously we'll get helped along the way because, if we, can provide that value to them, I think it's going to work great for everyone.
Absolutely, Andrew. All right, let's jump to Mr. Citron.
Yeah.
Let's talk some mortgages. Let's also talk your story.
I'm excited to hear about the mortgages.
Same.
Let's learn a little bit more.
Yeah, so the mortgage industry's been getting pretty crazy. I'm sure you guys know. Bank of Canada's raised the rates by 25 beeps, 0.25%. So prime rate's at about 6.7 now. So, most variable rates, if you're an uninsured variable, you're going to be at around like 5.7, 5.8.
I wish. I'm at 6.1 right now. One of
Yeah,
mine.
so yeah, it's
Is that on the
uninsured
condo?
probably,
In
right?
the condo.
Yeah, so
My most expensive property.
yeah, so like it's gotten pretty expensive for some people, like people who were locked in at like 1% like a year ago. You know, like their costs, you know, on like a $500,000 home, like their monthly cost probably went up like $1,000, like
Wow.
to $1,200.
That's huge.
Yeah, yeah. So like a lot of people are stretched thin right now, and they're kind of like going without certain things. You know, like they're kind of like humbling themselves and not going out as much. You know, it's like hold on to their house, right? Fixed rates though right now are pretty interesting. It's the first time I've seen where fixed rates are lower than the variable. But a lot of people don't want to get locked into a 5-year fix, so most people are going for like a 3-year. What I'm personally seeing in the market right now is amongst the banks, there's almost like a price war for that fixed rate businesses.
Yeah, we were talking about that before.
Yeah, so like we're seeing a lot of promo offers. And
What's the lowest you've seen on a 5-year fix right now?
the lowest that I've personally seen is 4.48. That's of like the lenders that I use all the time. I do think that there are lower rates out there right now, and I think that we are going to see fixed rates come down. Because if you look at the 5-year Government of Canada bond yield right now, they're sitting at about 2.9%. They have been for, you know, like close to a couple of weeks now. So when that happens, usually the banks will set their fixed rates to a 1% to 2% spread of that. So right now, like I wouldn't be surprised if we see fixed rates promos coming out at around like 4.29 pretty soon within like the next week or two, if the bond yield stays where they're at, right?
I got a question for you. So basically, since the peak of the market, we're down about 35% from last March. So if you looked at the rates then, they were around 2. Now the 5-year fix is hovering around 4.5 or so.
Yeah.
But payments, like they're saving a lot on the purchase price, but payments are stayed relatively the same. What would you say to maybe my first-time buyer clients that are thinking of, oh my God, the rates are going up, but like the payment's the same, but they're saving a lot of money on the buy?
Yeah, so you really just got to analyze the deal and look at the numbers, right? Like a $500,000 house like last year, now you can scoop it up for like $350.
Yeah.
So although the rate is a bit higher, your payment's actually like about the same as what it would have been last year if you would have bought it for $500K.
That's kind of what I've been telling them too, because
Yeah.
like, I mean, if you're someone who's looking to maybe buy and sell in like a 6-month period, maybe you might have to think of it different.
Right.
But if you're a first time buyer and you're going to say, well, I'm going to hop in this house for like 4 or 5 years. Like, do you think it will make a big difference? Like if you can afford the rate, they usually say marry the house, date the rate.
Yeah, right. Like I think now's a great time to buy, especially with the higher rates, because like the house is probably going to go up. Like real estate always goes up. It's going down right now a little bit.
Not financial advice.
No, right, yeah. But like if you buy a house, for like $300K right now, like likely it's going to be worth like 400, maybe a little more in like 3 to 4 years, right?
Yeah.
It's just the way that the real estate market's always gone. It goes up, then it drops down a little bit, and then it like goes up a lot again.
I always tell people my grandparents bought a house in St. Clair Beach in Tecumseh for $10,500 in 1950s, and
love to hear it.
Yeah, if you look at, I mean, like right now it'd be worth maybe around, prices are down a bit, but yeah, maybe like 600,000. So I just say like, if you look at the main trajectory of homes
Historically, yeah. over
like
the
they're
100
way
years.
up,
Even because I have the chart on my desk in my office of the 100-year like prices, right?
Yeah.
And it's just up. It's just a giant like
Big
it's like
linear line
Yeah,
up.
it's just a right angle triangle. Like what's it? Right angle triangle? Yeah. Because the dips don't really get pushed too much into it, right? The dips are so short, long-term wise.
Right.
So historically, and factually, they do go up. Obviously, it's a roller coaster ride. There's been times that has gone down. Even in was it 2000 and in Windsor here at 2004, 2005, things started going down again. We got hit obviously in 2008. Obviously, heavily affected by the automotive industry. So, but we picked back up pretty quickly.
I think the cool thing about Windsor is they're bringing like different jobs here. Like they got the battery factory. I don't know if you mentioned it on the podcast, but the student rentals in South Windsor, they got the new, there's a new battery engineering program at St. Clair College.
It's huge.
Yeah.
It's massive.
It's huge.
Yeah, it's huge. So it's good for the area.
Yeah, a lot of stuff happening in Windsor. And like one cool thing about the higher rates, especially for investors, is you potentially can cash flow more than you would have with the lower rate, because at tax time you can write off the interest, right? So if you look at the numbers, like sometimes you'd actually be cash flowing even more.
Wow.
Yeah, with that being
Never would have thought of that.
considered, right? Yeah, yeah. A lot of people kind of miss that, right? But it's something to consider for sure.
Mike, you seem to know a lot, and you seem to be very passionate about what you're doing. How did you get into, being a mortgage agent, mortgage broker?
Yeah, so like I've been in real estate for 6 years, right? And then I was working for a job board company before, and then COVID kind of messed that up.
Where were you before? Sorry.
It's a company called Easy Job Board, and so that kind of like I got laid off when COVID hit because everybody stopped hiring, right? And then I was just talking to some of my buddies that are in real estate, and they're just like, man, like, why don't you just like get your mortgage license? It's like fully immerse yourself in real estate. And I was like, you know what? That's a good idea.
Take the jump.
Yeah, and I did it, and I'm happy I did it. It's like the best decision I ever made. It's like the first like job I've had where like I actually like love what I do and I love going to work. Like on the weekends, sometimes I'll get bored. I'm like, oh, I want to like go out there and hustle, and
That's how I feel about real estate too.
Yeah,
Like it's just like showing up every day is like amazing.
yes,
Like,
it's awesome.
what more do you need?
Right. Yeah, it's definitely fulfilling for sure.
Absolutely. To anybody who's looking to start a real estate career, you have a room full of guys that, took the leap, and I see smiles all the way around.
No looking back.
There's a lot of different like industries here too as well, all related to real estate, but a lot of industries. I mean, Graeme, you have a few businesses yourself there, but I quickly want to hop into a conversation there too as well, because I deal with a lot of investors. A lot of my clients, like we all write off our numbers. I know Graeme will talk about this too, I think as well. But like I think what I'm writing my numbers in the sixes for my mortgages, right? So if I can go to my clients and go, hey, we have fixed rates, and if you can do for a 3-year, even less than even a 5-year, let's just talk about 3-year at 4.6, and we're talking about buying this house at 6.1 or 5.
So you're saying when you're underwriting the deal, are you running your numbers
we're doing our numbers in the sixes, if not the sevens.
Yeah.
Right? Because we're trying to future.
Remember our friend Marco was saying that. Maybe we'll bring Marco on the show one time. But
Marco was doing sixes back in like December before the market even started going. It's crazy. But so I mean, if we can have a 3-year, or 5-year locked in mid 4s, that's, as you mentioned, $200-300 in savings.
Yeah, absolutely.
Right? That's huge for a cash flow purposes.
Now for investors, most likely their fixed rate will probably be like, 'cause it's going to be a rental, right? So like lowest rental rate right now in the market is like 5.19 for a 30-year amortization, because rentals can't be insured or insurable, so it has to be an uninsured
20%,
conventional mortgage, right?
So these rates are for insured, so less than 20% down.
Right. Yeah.
Okay.
So there is insurable too, where you can do 20 to 35% down.
Okay.
So it works different than insured. Like when you get uninsured mortgage, you have to pay the insurance premium. It gets tacked onto the mortgage amount.
CMHC insurance.
Yeah, and then for insurable, there is still the insurance, but the banks and stuff, they do like some kind of bulk trading in the background, and they kind of cover your insurance premium, so you don't pay the insurance premium. But yeah, it's a 25-year amortization max. There's a bit of a premium from uninsured. Usually it's about 10 to 20 beeps higher.
Can you go more than 25 amortization? Can you do like a 30 or 35?
Yeah, on an uninsured mortgage. Yeah, and then we have some B lenders actually that will do.
I know in the States, like I think they might
year.
have like 50-year. Like
Yeah.
they have some crazy products.
Yeah,
over
it's
there.
crazy.
Have you heard any talks about that come in here, especially with house prices that have gone up crazily in the last couple of years?
Yeah, like they've been talking about 40-year amortizations for like A-side lenders. I don't think it's going to happen though, to be honest. They are doing it on the B side right now. There's like
CMHC has some for apartments as well.
Right, yeah. So for the commercial side, for big like multifamily properties, they do have like the 40-year amortization.
It's kind of cool.
Yeah,
Quick
for
hop
sure.
in again there, because we just mentioned A, B, and we haven't talked about C yet. Can you quickly explain what an A lender is, a B lender is, and a C lender is?
Yeah, for sure. So A lenders are your big financial institutions, like the big banks like RBC, Scotia, and then there's also monoline lenders that are on the A side as well. Now, monoline lenders, they're like the banks, but they don't do like personal banking. They just really just like loan out money for mortgages and other loans, right? Mm-hmm. And then the B lenders, they're financial institutions as well. Sometimes they're not as big, or they're like a branch off of the A side, and so they're more lenient.
Like a credit union or something like that?
Yeah, well, like not really a credit union. Like there's like B2B Bank, for example, and they're an A lender, but then they have their alternative side, which is their B side.
Okay.
Right. So yeah, like they have higher amortization periods. Some of them will have like no stress test qualifying. You qualify on the contract rate. So it's really helpful for people who are like stretched thin. They need that extra boost in their debt ratios, right? So
I remember like before I had my 2 tax returns as a realtor, I bought a house last year, and they were actually able to help me on the B side.
Right, yeah.
Because I didn't qualify for the A yet. So
Yeah.
that was kind of cool. Like the rate wasn't even much higher.
Right, yeah. Like
I put down
they're really
20%, but like it was pretty easy.
Yeah, that's the thing with B lenders too, is you usually gotta put 20% down. And yeah, they're really great for business for self people because they'll have bank statement programs and stated income programs now. Like they do need proof of the funds and everything to make sure everything is legit. But yeah, they're really great for people who want to get into the market who can't at a traditional lender. And then there's private lenders, which really high rates. They really lend based on the property and the cash flow. They don't really care about income or credit score. You can have like bankruptcies in the past, as long as it's not to a lender, right? If you have a prior bankruptcy where a lender lost money on a mortgage, a lot of privates will be like, you know what, we don't want to work with
stay
you.
away.
Yeah, but like you can have no job. You could be on like disability or something. Maybe you got hurt at work. You're off. You have the cash though to buy a house.
Yeah.
They'll help you out and they'll lend the money if it makes sense. Now, they do want to see an exit plan though, especially now. There's a lot of tightening that's happening with the private lenders just because a lot of people are getting into trouble, right? Because usually they're 1 or 2 year terms, and when that term's up, sometimes they don't want to renew, right? And like they'll leave you scrambling, and then
You got to figure it out.
yeah, like you have to figure it out, and if you don't, your house is going power of sale.
Yeah. Jay, when you did private on the duplex you recently did, like how easy was it, or like,
Good, great.
because
question.
I know you've got other mortgages from maybe
for
A
sure.
and
I
B
have
lenders,
I've
stuff like that.
done A lender. I haven't done B lenders yet, but I have done a multitude. And actually, me and Graeme did a deal in the past where we bought a property so quickly once again, and we actually bought that property sight unseen too, which is a story for another day. But basically, yeah, we did private on that one. I just recently did a private on my duplex, and I mean, it's super simple, to be honest with you. It's you reach out to your mortgage agent, you ask a bunch of questions, and then they kind of shop it around, just like they would shop a mortgage around, right? Rates will depend on that private mortgage, which in the case is a person for the most part. And usually what you have to do is you have to pay their rate.
What are their rates usually like? Do you guys
Could
know?
be anywhere from, I got mine at 9 points, 9%, but I've seen as high as 17%. And it all depends on what you want to put down. In my case, I had a blanket one of my properties on top of my down payment of 20% down, just because there's obviously a lot of risk and I wanted the lowest rate. I could have went as, like I said, high as 17 or probably even higher, and I would probably have to put only down 5%. Or I could have probably got more than my amount needed and been able to use that money towards renovations, which is another great thing for investors is you don't necessarily need to have money.
You guys did that on, what was it, Turner? That was a flip you guys did?
I did it me myself. Turner, yeah. So I did a property way back 2 or 3 years ago, and it was a flip. And we borrowed, I think the property purchase price was $155,000. I borrowed, I think, $200,000. So I borrowed well over what it was. It was at a 12 points at the time, so 12% for both the first and second mortgage. And I basically, I think out of pocket, maybe paid $6,000 or $7,000 total.
So yeah, for the private side, it's more so like if the numbers make sense.
Yeah,
like you're not so much. I know Graham's done a couple private money deals, but it's more so like if the numbers work, you're gonna make some cash, then do it.
They're happy with
Absolutely.
it, right? The more money they lend out, the more return they get, right? So it's a great way. And I mean, I think I would love to talk about in the future about how anyone can get into private lending because it's a person, not a bank, right?
Right. Well, like there is institutions. I personally like to use institutions just because they have like a reputation to hold and stuff. But yeah, there are people who just lend out their own money if they have like $1 million in the bank.
So they would come to you and just be like, "Hey, I got $1 million here.
Yeah.
Let's like loan some money out."
Yeah,
basically.
right.
Okay.
And then yeah, I connect them with clients and
Okay.
yeah, we can get some mortgages funded that way
Cool.
for sure.
That's cool.
Yeah. Now the difference between working with someone who's just like doing it for themselves, it does tend to be a lot quicker. Like they just need to see the property, especially if they're in the area that they're lending in. Like,
yeah, and they're familiar with like the neighborhoods.
yeah.
And,
Yeah, like for my private mortgage on the flip that I'm doing, the guy did a drive-by. I didn't need an appraisal. And he's like, yeah, I'll fund that. And like I was signing papers the next day, you know. So yeah.
That's fast.
Yeah. Super fast. That's the other good thing too, you know, if like sometimes clients kind of drag their feet or their mortgage person drags their feet, right? And then they're like scrambling. There's like a week or two till closing, you know, you might have to close that privately just to get it funded and then finance out into the A side, right? Like they're quick, so they're good for saving deals sometimes too.
Yeah, that's cool.
That's awesome. And I think we'll do last but not least, because I don't want this to drag on too long here. But hey, Graeme, let's talk about yourself there.
Yeah, I want to hear about Graeme.
Oh, sounds dangerous.
Let's hear it.
Where do you want to get started? I mean, I'm a real estate investor. I'm 27 years old. Have a few businesses. Most of my days are spending working on the businesses. However, when I find a good deal, happy to work on it. Happy to get it going.
Let's talk about why you got into real estate or what brought you, because I mean, you're not from Windsor as well. I think you're the only person on this podcast not from Windsor. So I want to know more about why real estate and what brought you to Windsor, especially Windsor real estate.
Yeah, I got started when I was in university. I switched out of the marketing program at Guelph into the real estate and housing program, which is one of the only programs across the country that offers a real estate Bachelor of Commerce. So I lucked into that. I got a taste of what real estate was through studies, and decided, hey, you know what? While I'm in school, I'd love to buy a property.
So how do you buy a property when you're in school?
Yeah, nothing.
Because like most of the students I talk to have no money.
Nothing.
At least I had no money when I was a student.
That's where the privates come in, right?
Yeah. So I actually used my OSAP, and I used my OSAP to invest in the stock market at first. And
Not financial advice.
Not financial advice. But I invested in the stock market, and I got lucky a couple times, and then I didn't get lucky, but I ended up with a lot more money than I had at the beginning. And I said, I am learning all about real estate. I'd really love to buy some. So I looked west to Windsor. I noticed a few things at that time. I noticed the minimum wage was going up. I learned rents in Windsor were quite low.
This was what, around like 2016?
2017, yeah.
17,
yeah. Wow. So right around then, when the minimum wage was going up, I thought rents were going to increase. With minimum wage, it was going up from, I think, $11 to $14.50. So it was a huge jump.
Yeah.
So I jumped in. I called the guy named Jeremy McGraw. And I said,
is that how you guys first met?
I like a property you got for sale. And he said, no, you don't want that one. You want this one instead. So he brought me over to a property in the west end of Windsor. And I was interested in student rentals at the time. So he showed me this place. It was a 4-bedroom. We could easily convert it to a 5-bedroom. We bought it for, I think, $130,000.
Around there, yeah.
Yeah. So we did that. We hopped in. We put about $10,000 in renos in, just cleaning the place up. And at the end of the day, we rented the place out for $2,000 a month. We had an open house one weekend for rentals, and we had, I think, about 20 groups that showed up. We rented out the same day.
I think your mortgage is like $500 a month too.
It was quite low.
It was $2,000 income, like a $500 mortgage. Insurance was like $125 or $150. Taxes, because the house was so cheap, was probably like what, $100 a month.
So how'd you feel after you picked up that first deal? Like you probably felt like you hit gold.
Like $1 million, yeah.
Wow.
I thought I was rich, yeah.
Like this is better than going to school.
Imagine you're in second year university and you just bought a property.
Cash flowing like over $1,000 a month.
$1,000 a month. I've never seen this kind of money.
Big bread.
Yeah, some serious cash flow. That's crazy.
Yeah, it was pretty neat. But at the time, I was doing an internship at a company called CBRE, which is a commercial real estate sales company in Toronto.
Jason?
That's how I met Jason, who's my mentor and my partner, actually. I went to work every day, was working on investment deals for other people in Toronto. Meanwhile, I had this little property in Windsor, and I showed it to Jason one day, who was a mentor, and I'd advise everybody to find a mentor, someone who they look up to in real estate, who they can learn from, because it'll change your life. And I said, hey, I've got these properties at Windsor that I've been, being able to find, locate with really, really high cash flow. There's no way these properties can't go up in value. And if they don't, then you can just compound the cash flow and just keep buying more. So he's like, yeah, let's do it. So we hopped in. We ended up buying 4 more properties by the end of the year. and everything's through Jeremy and compiling those properties. And obviously we
Sponsored.
got really lucky with the market. So that was the story in investing. Now we've turned into multifamily. We've bought mixed use properties. We've done flips. We've partnered with Jeremy McGraw. We've started other businesses. So we've done quite a bit.
That's good. And then, so that was obviously getting into real estate. Then you own a property management company. So you got into that because of all the properties that you probably purchased, right? And why was that? Was that because you were still in Guelph at the time, I think, when you
still in Guelph, right?
Yeah.
It was in my last year there, and I everything happened really naturally. This was a great quote, and it's from what's that show? The Billions, trying to make $1 million, and they have 40 days or 80 days. The billionaires who get put,
Undercover Billionaire, right?
Undercover Billionaire.
it?
Thanks. Yeah. The first season. What was the guy's name?
Ooh, that was a bank.
Grant Cardone did one.
Grant
Yeah,
Cardone
he's
did
on
one.
second
He did the
season.
second season, but the first season. Anybody remember the guy's name?
I don't know.
Can't think of it. Maybe the guys can reference an article. I don't know.
Yeah. Anyways, so he had one great quote that I took away with, and it was find your buyers first. Don't find your product. So when you find a need, fulfill it. So when I was coming down here, I'd spoken to Jeremy and I'd spoken to a number of other realtors, and we were asking for property management companies to manage the properties. They couldn't recommend any at the time. So I said, oh, wow, this is consistent through a number of realtors. Why don't we try and do this? So we opened up the business. Property management is a very, very tough business. And there's, a million lessons we've learned along the way. But we ended up starting it. We're up to 300 units now in Windsor. And then naturally, the second thing was construction. We have all these properties we're managing. There constantly is a need for construction to happen. Now, if we want to talk the evolution of that construction company, I could talk for a while about it, but just in a nutshell, we ended up trying to hire a bunch of people at first. Very, very tough, especially when you're working in trades.
So employees.
We were hiring employees. At one time, we had up to 25 or 26 employees, just full-time in construction.
Wow.
Yeah, it was a lot.
It's a lot to manage.
Yes, and that's where we realized there must be a better way. So we switched into subcontractors. We have a number of crews, and we like the system of hiring crews where nobody's overseeing it. It's actually like a single crew, and that contractor who's actually going to be there, because then they're invested a little bit more in the work they're doing. So we went that route. We've done really well with the model, and then luckily again, one of our clients, we had a need for electrical, and one of my clients, our clients, was getting his master electrical license.
Was that Daryl?
Daryl was getting his license, and I said, Daryl, listen, we're already doing all this construction, property management. Let's do an electrical company as well. So we opened the company, and
I think my brother's got the second top seniority there.
He does. So funny enough, Andrew's brother was our first employee.
Oh, it was funny. Like I told my brother to do a couple of different things, but like he'd always be like, I want to be an electrician. And then like it worked out perfect because Graham's like, yeah, I'm starting this electrical business. And I'm like, dude, I got the guy who will work his ass off.
Yeah, and he's super passionate. He loves it. Never met anybody more passionate about electrical work before.
He loves
and
it.
He's awesome.
Now he's running around my parents' house doing light fixtures and pot lights, and like he'll just come home from work and say, Mom, I'm changing this ceiling fan.
The whole place has been
Yeah.
renovated. Yeah.
Yeah.
That's
It's
awesome.
hilarious, actually.
Cool. Yeah, so that's my story. That's the story about the businesses. If you guys want, we can hop into a little roundtable discussion, a little roundtable segment. And let's really dive into, I want to hear everybody's opinion. The new rate hit. How do we think this is going to affect the market? Do we think it's going to affect the market negatively? Do you think this is what people were seeing? Where do you see
Good
us
question.
going? Do you think there's another rate hike coming?
So
Jeremy, you want to start us off?
Big J?
I read the article. It seems like they're saying this might be the last one for a while. I've had a few conversations with some other investors and some people that have been, past. They've seen this before, right? I think we have to follow whatever the States does too. So we have to keep that in mind. We can only understand what we do, but we have to take in to whatever the States does as well. So if they keep raising, then we unfortunately have to keep raising to follow them. Otherwise, the bond yields and stuff change. But basically, I think that as long as we stop and the kind of States kind of holds, and we kind of see more of a flatness, I think we'll see kind of more of a stagnation for a bit. I don't think the prices are going to start skyrocketing. Some people will say, oh man, the market's going to start blowing up. But how can the market blow up when we still have 6% mortgage rates or 5% mortgage rates? So I don't think until we start seeing the mortgage rates drop that we'll see prices start going up again, and hopefully they do drop soon, but that's a whole other bag of worms. However, I mean, supply right now is still at an all-time low because we basically have sellers that no longer want to sell.
Supply is really low.
Supply is low. Supply is at basically, I don't know if it's at an all-time low or not, but like it's definitely very, very low. There's still the same amount of buyers. Buyers are more pressure to buy now than ever before because originally it's, oh, I need to buy because the housing market is going up. Now it's, I need to buy because I am going to be priced out because mortgage rates are so high and my income does not qualify for me to even buy a house in the West End anymore. So it's one of those things where we're being priced out. We were being priced out before, but rates were so low that's the only reason why people were getting in the market. Now they need to get in the market because I'm going to be priced out. So I think that there's a lot of buyers and not a lot of properties on the market. We are still seeing multiple offers for sure. We're still seeing open houses get, for example, a house in South Windsor, one of my colleagues had like 56 showings.
Well, there's a house on Glendale last week that sold like 100 over. I know the agent priced it a little aggressive.
35 offers on that
Maybe it was
property.
120 over.
Yeah,
it was for
120K
350,
over.
sold for like 470.
Yeah.
It was at a price point that was at market average, at the sale price, I think was market average around 450-ish. That sold for 470, right? 35 offers on it.
When's the last time we saw that in the market? Seeing those multiple offers in the 30 to 40 range? I
think, to be honest with you, and I don't know, Andrew can hop on this too as well, but I mean, I was writing offers and we were negotiating for the longest period. Maybe about a year ago is when we really, I mean, don't get me wrong, 2-3 offers is pretty normal, I still think, for a nice house. But when we were seeing 20, 30, 40 offers, I mean, for some houses, it's been crickets, on the market for 70, 80, 100 plus days.
I think it's probably about a year ago, like March, February, January last year was like insane.
I think
like
we were
you'd
up
have
to,
like
yeah.
30 offers on a house. And I mean, we would price them slightly aggressive to get people in. And like, sometimes people would complain about that, but at the end of the day, it's what your client wants. You're working for the seller. Yeah. Your job's to get them the most money, but like it was bananas at one point. We still do see that. Like,
and I also want to say about that property on Glendale there, that price was priced aggressively for multiple offers.
350 is aggressive for like, it was a big lot too.
It was a brick bungalow, 3 beds.
Yeah.
It was clean too. It was dated, but it was clean. Very clean house.
People like that. Like the dated, like, those like original hardwood floors, brick ranch, like solid house. You know what I mean? Like you can kind of see all the nuts and bolts.
That's the style that I like.
Like, it's super solid. Like if you paint it, you like refinish the flooring.
You can move in, even though it's dated. Like you're like, wow, I can actually move in there, and maybe I'll upgrade the kitchen next year, or maybe the bathroom the year after, right? Yeah. It's not one of those houses where you walk in and you're like, oh, this is gross. I have to change everything right off the bat, right? It's a house that you can move in, live in, and everything's and do the changes as you need to be.
I feel like with the rates, like I know they just raised it. We're talking about that, but I kind of feel like prices are like the market was like prepared for that rate increase. Like everyone's like, oh, this is inevitable. Yeah. Like if they didn't raise rates today, I feel like it would have went a little bananas. Like I know like it was just a couple hours ago they did it, but like, yeah, I feel like everyone kind of figured it was going to happen. Everyone was expecting it. People like, you probably know, Mike, people getting their pre-approvals like ready, knowing that the rate hike was coming.
Yep, absolutely.
Yeah, because can you lock it in for, what is it, 90 or 120 days?
Yeah, it's between 90 and 120 days.
And that's for fixed, right? Not variable.
Variable too, we lock in the discount rate.
Okay.
Yeah, so if the rate goes up again, like you're still locked in at that like 0.9 discount, right?
Yeah.
Personally, I think like the prices could go either way right now. Like just like 2 or 3 months back, we did see that prices jumped up a little bit.
They did jump up a little bit, like 10 grand or something.
Yeah. So I think because it was such like a small increase in the rate, combined with the low inventory right now, potentially could see it go up a little bit. Could be wrong though; it could go down, right?
Yeah.
But yeah, I do think we might see a little uptick though and see it rise a little bit.
Do you think, Mike, that like once they announce that we're not raising it anymore, or it might potentially go down, what do you think that's going to do to the market, and what do you guys think?
Fire. It's gonna be busy.
Yeah,
it's gonna blow
there's
up.
a lot of money waiting on the sidelines to jump in, and yeah, I think it's going to go crazy. like if it doesn't go crazy when they decide to not raise it, as soon as there's like a small decrease, I think it's going to be nuts. And you guys are going to be busy, that's for sure.
Mike, I want to jump to the darker side on this.
The dark side.
Are you seeing anybody coming in for renewals?
Oh yeah,
And you just have bad news for them?
yeah. Actually, like just recently, I got one property where the lender reached out to me.
Sorry, I don't think I was specific enough. Mortgage renewals. People are renewing mortgages at this time.
Like they had a super low rate and now they're coming back.
Yeah,
And it was 2% and now it's in the 5s.
Yeah, so like,
just want to illustrate that properly.
yeah. So like today, for example, I actually had to hop on a call with a client at 1. She had a 1-year term. She was locked in at like 2.84. And now for that same product, she's going to be looking at like 6.8 probably, maybe 6.5 if I buy it down a little bit.
Is that affordable for her?
Luckily, she does have a lot of savings, so it is affordable. She might put some more money down onto the mortgage.
For her, do you think she should do maybe another 1-year term? Potentially, if rates are going to go down.
So we had to
next
put her
year?
into a specific product where it was only a 1-year term for a situation. It was like a separation
Okay.
situation, and like all the terms weren't like laid out yet, so it was a little tricky. But now that's all settled. So like, but potentially now I could probably get her into like a 3 to 5 year fixed term. So I think that like she should probably put some money down to keep the payments low, so it's affordable because she does have like a family to take care of, right? But yeah, like luckily she's in a situation where she does have assets and savings where it's not going to be like she has to sell a house, right? Yeah. A lot of people though, like people who I put in privates last year,
Private would be
and
tough.
they're coming out for renewal, like they're like,
No.
yeah, it's not going good.
Now, in terms of the 1-year term, I mean, where are they at for value on the like the appraisal of the property?
Yeah, so the appraisal hasn't been done for that property yet. For that specific property though, like it should be okay. That's the thing though, right? Like for these
Could you
private
explain
lenders,
what happens?
I know if you're underwater, I want to know about that.
So, sorry, just let me explain what this is, just so they're following what you're going to say. Is when you have a property that you buy and then the market drops and then your term is over. So like, let's say in this case, 1 year ago, the market was hot. So let's say you buy a property at 600,000. Now the property has tanked. Now the property is worth 400. And now you have to renew. What could possibly happen for your buyer or your client?
Yeah, so if the lender doesn't want to offer the client a renewal, we'll have to send that mortgage elsewhere.
Like private or?
It depends on what they were in before, right? Okay. So we have to do that. Most lenders, they want an appraisal unless it's insured. If the property, if the mortgage on the property, say she bought it for $600K and she has a $500,000 mortgage on it, if the property gets appraised at $400K, there's a $100K shortfall there.
It's big cash.
Right? Actually, more than that, because they're only going to loan like 80% loan to value. So they're going to have to come up with that extra cash to make that up in order to get a mortgage on it.
Wow.
So
And a lot of people don't have that, and they just have to sell it off and downsize or rent.
A lot of people don't know that.
Yeah. And I think that's a reason why you're actually seeing rent prices skyrocket right now. Like I saw in Toronto, I think they said like rent prices have like gone up like 23% or something this year.
Yeah, we're seeing that here as well.
Yeah, we're seeing it everywhere.
Yeah.
Yes, it's crazy.
Which will help investors in terms of underwriting their pro formas, but
Yeah, for
obviously,
sure.
who's biting the bullet right now is the working man, right?
Yeah.
You know, if you're not in real estate, you're forced to rent. Or salaries going up 20%.
No.
Definitely not, no.
So, yeah,
We'll have to see what happens.
Yeah, we'll see what happens there.
Do you want to say there's some really good deals on rentals right now? Wow.
Really? In what sense?
Absolutely. Well, compared to buying, for example, let's take a house. I had a client call me yesterday, purchased a new build in Amherstburg for $1.15 million. Run the numbers on that. The mortgage has got to be pushing got to be like what, $4,000, $5,000. Probably let's say about $6,000 after taxes, insurance, the whole 10 yards there, right? So you got that $1.15 million house.
How much do you think that can rent for? There's no way it cash flows.
So, running the numbers, $3,000 a month.
Yeah.
As a renter. So someone's going to rent that property at $1.15 million house for $3,000 a month plus utilities, of course. and that person who owns it is probably going to be in for $5,000.
Yeah,
maybe.
the tenant's stealing it from them pretty
So,
much.
for example, you can rent a really nice house, a brand new build, a townhome for like 20. There's some in Essex right now for $2,600. They're like $600,000 townhomes, right? So people owning them, but that's the issue, is that people are hoping and praying that rates, I think, go down, but they can't sell it because they just bought it. It's a new build. The new builds tend to be way more pricier than a resale. So now they're in for a $600,000 property, which, like you said, Graham, is probably worth $400,000. Have you seen that at all with new builds?
Yeah, I've been seeing that a lot with new builds, like these like $900,000 $1 million homes. They're renting for like $2,800, $3,200 a month, and
It's a good deal for the tenant.
Absolutely, it is. Yeah, if you can afford that. I think like the main issue there is like, well, it's not an issue, but the builders are having a hard time selling those properties right now because the rates are so high. A lot of people who could afford $1 million home before, now they can afford maybe like $650,000, $700,000, right? They don't want to sell those properties at a loss, so they're just renting it out in the meantime, kind of biting the bullet, and then when the market picks back up.
I got a question for you,
sell.
Mike, actually. So let's say you're a builder, you got say townhomes listed for $900,000. Then there's one that's a year old that's been resold for say like $750,000. Is there going to be an issue there with the appraisal when the builder's selling those new construction? Because that's kind of interesting. I know RBC will, I think they do some sort of like construction, like if it's going to close in the future,
Right.
they might lock in a rate, but
Yeah, so some lenders will lock in the rates like a year in advance.
yeah.
So if you can get it done and sold by then,
Yeah.
you're good to go. If it becomes after that, you might need an exception made, or you
that
could be on the hook.
Could be a
for
little
that.
crazy.
Yeah, especially if the townhome's like right in the proximity of it, you know. It can,
Yeah, like it
could
just
be an
sell.
issue.
Yeah. Wow. Cool.
Absolutely.
What do you think, Graham?
I think there's a difference right now. I think and what we just spoke about was we have the house rentals and we have apartment rentals. I think on the apartment rental side, I've never seen a rate hike this high. In terms of 1 bedrooms, 2 bedrooms, especially in the city center, we're seeing a huge hike in rental rates.
For sure, probably. I think so as well.
1 bedrooms, I can't find any in the city center for less than $1,250. We're talking studios, 1 bedrooms, $1,250 a month, and we're talking downtown.
Studios,
we're talking in areas that aren't that great.
Yeah.
Like C-class areas.
Yeah, C-class areas, even two bedrooms as well. They're I've seen 2 bedrooms all the time renting for $1,700, $1,800, and
That's
same
tough because
areas.
like sometimes landlord looks for like 2 to 3 years, or sorry, 2-3 times their monthly income to afford that.
Yeah.
So you almost got to be making like $5,000 a month, which is
Yeah.
$60,000 a year, which for some people is like, it's like a really good job.
This might be a good opportunity for a would-be investor that's thinking about maybe buying their personal property. I would, in my opinion, there go, okay, why are you going to spend, have a $4,000 mortgage, right? Why don't you rent where you want to live at? Save those $200,000, $300,000, $400,000 down payment. Take that down payment, buy a multifamily, maybe 6 units or so, because you're putting $400,000 down. Let's say if you're going to buy a $1.15 million property, how much can that get you in Windsor? Well, there's a property actually right next to the one you have on Wyandotte, listed for around 1.2 million, 7 units, right? Why wouldn't you just rent where you want to live? Buy that building, and you're not having to. You'll get way more money coming back to you. That'll probably almost pay for your rental.
Your rental.
And you get to live in the neighborhood that you wanted to live at the beginning.
That was what I did last year when I moved into your building.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I'll rent this unit. I got waterfront condo, like 730 square feet for $1,800.
Prime real estate.
And then I did a flip and I made like $70,000.
And if you were to buy that
So I
condo
was like,
right
oh,
now,
this is great.
to buy that condo right now, you're paying what, $3,500 a month to own it.
Yeah, I think at the time, like when rates were lower, it would have been about $2,700 or so.
And you're not paying anywhere near that.
No, I'm paying $1,800.
There
It's
you
actually
go.
inclusive.
Yeah, with an underground parking spot.
So
Yeah, not bad.
yeah, cheap as chips.
I want to talk about just quickly a little contest me and Jeremy have embarked on.
Okay.
Jeremy found a duplex, fantastic deal for $235,000.
Yes.
And then kudos to him. He helped me find this deal as well. Another duplex I found, and I ended up buying it for the exact same price.
I want to reiterate that I found that duplex.
Helped me find the duplex. And funny enough, we're both closing on it the same week. I closed
Same
on
week,
mine
yep.
on Monday.
Yeah, I closed
Jeremy's
on.
closing on Friday.
Yeah, today's what, Wednesday? Yeah.
What's the contest here between you gentlemen?
We're still trying to figure out what the terms were going to be because
Maybe we can figure that out today. Let's get this on paper. Let's get it on video.
Andrew is like, well,
and maybe a wager
speed
too. I don't know.
I'm like, well, I'm going to lose that round.
I don't think speed would work.
Speed does not work for this guy.
What if we have a few parameters? Because, we should be looking at it from the investment side. So, I mean, I think speed has to be one of the parameters.
Course.
Is this going to be like a buy and hold, or are you guys just going to renovate them and sell them?
So I think what we could go off of is either appraisal or sale.
I think so.
So
Fair enough.
In terms of our value when we're done. Mm-hmm. So I think we could do value,
of course,
profit,
of course,
and speed. If you guys can think of anything else, let me know.
So holding costs, all 10 yards,
all built into profit.
All built in. Perfect.
Cash flow.
At the end.
Well, that's what I was gonna say. Like, if you guys are gonna keep it,
you gotta get
then cash flow would count.
Market rents, what it could rent for.
Yeah.
At the end. So we're gonna add a fourth variable. It's gonna be market rents. What you're available. How do we decide what market rents are?
You can get it done when you get an appraisal. You can order them.
Yeah. Or like me and Mike could just tell you what market rents are.
Yeah.
We're gonna have these.
Me and Mike will be the unbiased market rental guys.
Yeah. Market rent analyzers.
Yeah.
I like that.
That's cool. Well, we're excited to see how you guys make out.
Yeah, so I'll probably get mine started in like 2 months. I'm just kidding. But I'm excited.
My guys are already there.
Oh, yeah.
They've been.
Graham hasn't even closed on it yet, and they're already working on it.
I replaced the roof already. Yeah, it's already replaced. It was replaced yesterday.
I got a property right now, also in and around that area. Actually, I own about 4 houses right now in that area. I have one guy finishing up some renovations at one of my properties right now. So I'm like, the faster you finish this job off and make it look good, faster you get paid, and the faster you get paid on another job. Because I want you to be at this other property too. So I have some moving around to do because we're definitely down. And I think one of the hardest things we found in Windsor is construction at a fair cost, reliability. And so that's basically one of my.
If you want, I can help you find a contractor since you helped me find a property.
Sounds good.
Maybe that'll
we'll talk
make it
after
fair.
about this. Yeah. So I think this will be a great competition because we both purchased the properties for $235 a piece. So we have the exact same purchase price. We have 2 fairly unique properties. Each of them has.
Jay's got a garage though.
I got a double car garage.
Did you hear that?
A lot of storage.
How many cars is it?
What is it? 2?
Double car garage.
Double car?
Double car garage.
Wow.
That's huge.
Yeah, I'm excited. It's got power in it.
Does it have power?
Yeah, I gotta get the clicker.
Yeah.
Clicker,
Good for you.
You gotta remember, I'm a condo guy. I don't get an underground. I have an underground parking where I can't fit a normal truck in there. My garage can fit a truck in it.
Wow.
I'm excited.
So you could actually buy a truck, Jay.
I have a truck. I can't. It's stored somewhere. I don't know where it's at.
All right, guys.
I'll ask Shaz where it is.
All right, guys. This was a fantastic first episode.
That was a great first
Yeah,
episode.
this is awesome.
I think this was a lot of fun. I think we're gonna enjoy this, whether people are listening to it or not. I mean,
no.
if you are listening, I hope you enjoyed the episode.
Yeah, thanks a lot for tuning in, guys.
Definitely reach out to us, and if you have any questions or if you want to have any suggestions too, because we're open to suggestions.
Even topics.
Yeah, we want to know. We want to know what people want to hear about.
Oh, that'd be huge.
Yeah, that would be huge. Yeah.
Yeah, if you're listening on YouTube, remember to like and subscribe. I'm just going to plug Jeremy. He's SJ Real Estate. How can we find you, Jeremy?
At Jeremy from Windsor on Instagram. And then, at SJ Real Estate, or SJ519, on Instagram as well for my real estate side there as well.
I'm on Instagram at the Graeme Thompson. My companies are thompsonasset.com. We have telectrical.ca for electrical. Happy to help out with whatever you need. Andrew McLeod, how do we find you?
Well, you guys sound really good over there. I don't know if I can top that.
See better.
So you can find me at what's my at Andrew McLeod Real Estate on Instagram.
Yeah.
You can always call me or text at 519-300-7093.
All the girls are going to be texting him after this.
He loves
negative.
calls and texts at 3 o'clock in the morning.
I prefers the way they
Jump Realty Inc. Me and Dan Zan, we got a team there. We sell Windsor. Be happy to help you guys.
Yeah, and
Mr.
you can
Citron. Yeah.
Yeah, you can find me at Michael_mortgages on Instagram, or you can call or text me direct at 226-346-7548.
I love that you guys are just giving phone numbers right out there. You're
Well, man, if they don't know you,
I love that. I love that.
They
Good
might
for
have
you.
questions.
Yeah, actually, you could call us. I'm going to give two phone numbers, 226-773-2010. That is for Thompson Electrical. And for Thompson Asset, you can call us at 226-400-0145.
I'm gonna get a bot to spam call that number.
Do I have to plug mine
Can't
now?
wait.
I'm going to plug mine as well. 519-982-8284. I think I have one of the easiest ones, and I still had to think about what it was. We don't get it out of the
but you
much
didn't know your
anymore. I
number.
normally
Doesn't
it's
even know his
happening.
number. Yeah,
I don't know my number.
Cool, guys.
Has to be on Instagram. It's better.
Well, I hope you all have a great day. Enjoy the snowstorm.
Absolutely.
Thank you.
Cheers.
Take care,
Yeah,
guys.
thank you.